Hit hard for me, definitely hit hard for Jake. So we thought we would do a little special tribute to Mr. Bray Wyatt. It was also sad we heard that Rich Stubler, long time, I think it was 30 years, CFL coach, passed away over the weekend as well. That was a tough one to hear, even though, Rich was 70-something. He was in his 70s anyways. Still tough on his family, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, the family of the Rotundas, as well as Terry Funk, another one that had passed away last week. So hopefully that's it. I'm just going to wait for Jake to come back in before we continue. Hopefully he's somewhere to be seen. If not, then I'm just going to take over the podcast, and God knows what's going to happen if I take over the podcast. We could go all kinds of cool places, but we do have a special guest today where I'm looking forward to hearing from Kyle Butkowski. I'm hoping I said your name right, Kyle. He is going to be a regular guest of ours coming on to be our college football insider. Kyle has been watching college football for many years, and he's going to give his analysis on the season as we go along. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm waiting for Jake. I don't know where he is. Let me text him to see what he's doing, where he's gone, what he's done. I think we might have lost him for good. I have no idea. If we have, then I'm going to just carry on, and he can join us when he's free. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring Kyle in, and we're going to just chat until Jake joins us. So, without further ado, I always say that wrong. Usually I say to do, and Ellison always corrects me. It's ado. We're going to bring Kyle in. Kyle, did I say your last name correctly? Butkowski?
Very close. Everyone pronounces it like that, but it's Butkowski. Very close. You were very close, okay. Trust me.
I was very close. I was like,
butchered that name, my name, for many of years, so it's fine.
Now, what nationality is that?
That's actually Czech. Or Slovak?
Is it Czech?
One of the two. I don't know. My dad's from there somewhere.
Nice. Well, welcome to HSP family.
Thank you. I've been listening. I'm a friend of Jake, so I've been listening since you guys started, so appreciate you guys having me on.
Very cool. We're looking forward to it. We decided, you know what? Let's cover college football this season. Jake, you came back, buddy.
He's back. Can't hear him.
I can't hear you, but you're back.
I can see him. I can hear him.
You could just see it. It's really funny. I obviously have known Jake a few years, and you could always see when he's getting really frustrated by his eyes. It's like...
But it's good to get into college football, especially if you guys, I'm sure you guys watch NFL. So if you get into the NFL,
I watch a little bit of the NFL, not huge.
Okay, but I think Jake does. And watching the NFL, watching college football, you can get to see, okay, like these players look like they can transition to the NFL and be good. You can go, okay, I think this guy's going to be good. I think my team, my favorite team, I think they should draft this guy here. They need this position. He looks like he was good in college.
Now, all the divisions are... is it this year is when all the divisions are changing, or did it start last year?
So this actually really started in like 2011.
Oh, it's been a while.
So in 2011, there's 6 conferences in a sense that had a shot. You had a shot to go, to play in the championship, because they didn't have a playoff back then either. So those 6 conferences, there was the Big East, which my school was in.
Okay.
West Virginia, it was Rutgers, Pittsburgh, University of Louisville. I don't remember what school left first. Maybe it was Syracuse. Somebody left first. And then my university said a week later, this is a sinking ship. And they left.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. It goes quick. As soon as like one big program leaves, it's a domino effect of, hey, we got to go and we got to get our money.
Exactly, and that's what it's about, right? Even though it's college football, it's all about the money.
Correct. So that was before they could pay the players. That was before then.
Yeah.
That where they're doing some shady stuff. People are getting paid. You just couldn't track it back to the university. And when you did, you got caught. You either got, you couldn't get as many recruits. Well, the university couldn't get any recruits. Honestly, the player would take it harder. I don't know if you know who Reggie Bush is.
Yes, I've heard the name.
Okay, so he won the Heisman in 2004 or 5. He took money.
Right.
His family took money. He got stripped of his Heisman trophy. Do I think he should?
Oh
yeah, they took it from him. So do I think he should get it back? Of course. Now you're paying players. What's the deal? Especially when you're making millions of dollars off the player. There used to be an NCAA football game. They got rid of that because the players sued, and they were right. You're using their likeness, and they're not getting paid. So I do understand that. I understand that, especially a lot of those players get hurt. Make it to the next level. Especially, you have NFL and NBA. I feel like a lot of those players, they make the university tons of money.
And anytime a corporation is making money because of something you're doing,
correct. I agree.
You should be benefited from that.
You should be compensated. And
you should. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Good.
Compensated for that.
But that's how I saw it. As I was like, what? I understand. The players should get paid. Especially if they're bringing in a lot of money. You have jersey sales that they're not touching. Again, there's a game, and the game went away. Now it's coming back. So I understand that. His glory days could be in college, even if he has a great. What if he had his senior year, or his junior year, because you can come out after 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Say he's a top prospect going to go into the season. 4 or 5 games in. Blows his knee out. He goes from a first-round pick to making, maybe $50-60 million, on his first contract to, becoming a 4th or 5th round pick where he's making maybe $1 million and he's fighting for a roster spot.
Well, exactly, right? So you got to make it. I mean, a pro football player's career is very short.
Exactly. You never know. God forbid anything happens. Concussions is a big issue that could happen.
Exactly.
Just knees, anything, anything can happen out of nowhere. So that's why I think the NIL deals, and I think it's good. I think it's good for the players, for the game of college football. Now that goes into, TV deals. Now the university needs to make more money. And that's why the Big East left, because their TV deal is running out. So you had most of the major teams from there went to different conferences.
Oh, okay.
So then you had, you have the Power 5, which will be, I'm making up the new name of the Core 4, but the Power 5, which is the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Pac-12. And all of them, two of those conferences already renegotiated contracts with the Big 10, the SEC. The Big 12 contract was expiring not till next year. They jumped the line, renegotiated their TV deal before the Pac-12. And that's why the Pac-12 crumbled. Because then the Pac-12 couldn't get anybody. I think they're going to go to Apple, and nobody stream on Apple. I mean, I have Apple TV, but am I going to pay extra for that? No.
The majority of viewers are listening on regular cable or watching on regular.
They're watching like that. CBS, NBC, ABC, ESPN. Those where you're going to be. So that's where the people. That's where all those conferences negotiated. So as soon as the Big 12 jumped the line in front of the Pac-12, you had USC and UCLA, Southern California, go, okay, we're going to leave. They leave, go to the Big 10, which geographically makes zero sense because, all the teams are, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin. It's Midwest. You have Rutgers and Maryland, which are on the East Coast, but teams on, in the Midwest in a sense, and Penn State, but for Rutgers and stuff, that's not that far of a trip. For Maryland's not that big of a trip, but now you have UCLA, USC. Then you had Oregon and Washington jump ship. Oh, Colorado was last Big 12 team. Just hit me because they left after USC and UCLA, and then they went to the Big 12. Colorado leave, and then you had all those giant rumors swirling of Oregon and Washington, they're going to the Big 10. They're going to the Big 10. That needle dropped, and then the next day Arizona State, and Utah left for the Big 12, and now you have 4 teams in a sense in flux with Stanford and Cal. They're big universities. They're trying to join the Atlantic Coastal Conference, which all the teams are. Yeah, you have Clemson, which is in South Carolina, Florida State, Miami, all on the East Coast, and 4 of those schools actually voted against them. So they're still trying to come in and out. And those schools want to leave the ACC because they don't think the money's there.
Jake, what U.S. Conference was UBC in?
None of these ones because they were in Div 2.
Yeah.
So these are the Div 1 divisions.
So Division 1 actually has two like subsets. There's FBS and FCS. So FBS is where all the major schools are, all the money is, and FCS is where like the lower end of Division 1 schools are. Not as much money. People really don't watch that really on TV. So, but FBS is where you want to be. You can move up, but you have to move up is by population, like how many people actually go to your school, like attendance, and honestly, the money you're getting, especially from outside sources.
Oh, really?
Building facilities, building university up.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have, I just as an example, I mean, you have 30,000 students or whatever. Okay, now you can move from Division 2 to like the subdivision, Division 1, and then you can move up again. I think it's that. I think it's also how many sports you offer, like if you're offering like a full plethora of like all the sports or not. Because I know that's an issue with some people actually trying to realign in conferences. Is some teams aren't, some major universities don't offer all of like women's sports and stuff like that. So I know that's an issue as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Jake, just to catch up, we've been talking about everything to do with college.
I've been in and out of being able to hear you guys and technical issues.
Yeah, we've seen you coming in and out.
If you have questions, go ahead, Jake.
Honestly, I think the big thing you guys were just talking about was the realignment of the conferences and all the craziness with that, because it's been pretty front and center, even for someone who doesn't watch a lot of college ball. It's been being talked about with a lot of different sports places. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens with that and what the ultimate outcome will be.
I think it's going to go to where there's just going to be almost an NFL style. You have like AFC, NFC, however many teams you want to put in there, East Coast, West Coast, then you have a playoff, and that's it.
Well, then, if I'm correct, they're expanding the playoff format next season, or is it this season?
Next season. This season's still 4. I think next season is 12 or whatever they're doing, or 8 and then 12. I think they're doing something along those lines. But I think it's next season when they're doing it. And they're going to have like the top seeds will be home for the first round of the playoffs, and then it'll be neutral site from there on, because now it's 2 neutral site games. But the higher seed gets the closer game. So say if it's Georgia, if because it's they're BCS bowl games, which they don't matter if you're not in the playoff. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't matter. You get some money, but it doesn't.
They used to mean something, and then they decided to put in a playoff format.
Because you used to have the BCS, which was a computer-generated, this team's won because of this and this and this, and now people just vote on it. This is the team I like. I think this team's better than this team. So, at the end of the day, I feel like you're going to get rid of the lower-end teams that are irrelevant in the big, in Division 1. My team included. We're irrelevant, I'll say it. I love them, but they're irrelevant. They're going to win 3 games this year, if that, so... At the end of the day, you're going to get rid of them. You're going to keep all the bigger schools that make money. They're all going to play each other. It's going to be like a super league.
You think that's where it's headed?
Yeah, I do. Because it's all about the money now. I mean, it's good and bad.
Wouldn't it make it easier for a casual fan to watch if there's one super league?
In a sense.
And the bottom 5 drop out, the top 5 from another league move in?
See, I would love that. They had almost like a relegation where you have, 32 teams, whatever you're doing, they play the bottom 3. I would love it if there's 2 sets of playoffs. You have the playoff for the championship, and you have the playoff for relegation and promotion, where you have the bottom 3 and the top 3 from below all play each other. So like the worst team plays, the worst team that got there.
Yes.
If you lose, you drop, you win, you stay or you go up. I would like that. I would love to see that if it's going towards that.
Very similar to how footy leagues do it across the world. You've got your top divisions, you've got your middle divisions and bottom divisions, right?
Yeah.
It only makes sense, especially with something like college where your players are changing out so often. You're going to keep them, maybe 3 years, 2 years?
You get 3. They have to stay at least 3 years. But again, there's a thing where you can be redshirted, which I know you guys aren't going to understand, so I'm going to explain it to you. So say you go in as a freshman. he's not going to play. You're not going to play. They can give you a red shirt. So technically, that year is you're not eligible, which means
I've heard that.
Yep, which means you can play still another 4 years and be college for 5 years. So you can be redshirted, and you can technically go into the draft as a redshirt sophomore instead of being a junior. Technically, you're a junior academic-wise, but you're a sophomore in the eyes of the NCAA. You're technically a sophomore. So you can play
which means rookie.
And so you can play for 3 years. So if you play the 3 years, then you can go into the NFL draft as long as you're in college for 3 years.
And so it's 3 years, and then you can go into the NFL draft.
Yes, 3 years.
That's the way it works.
Yep. So even if you're redshirted for 1 year, it's as long as you're in college for 3 years, you can go into the NFL draft. Which I understand. NFL's grown, man.
Now, which is your team? Who's your team?
So, West Virginia University is where I went, so that's my team.
Okay.
They were good. They were exciting. They used to be good. Coach left. Coach they have now, I didn't like to hire. He has taken them pretty much to irrelevancy. Like, we're not competitive, especially in the conference. I think he gets fired this year, in all honesty.
And which conference is Western University in?
West Virginia. They're in the Big 12.
West Virginia?
They're in the Big 12, and they're nowhere close to any. Now they're a little bit closer, but last year their closest opponent, I think, is Iowa State. And that's pretty far into the Midwest. Like, they're traveling a lot.
So that's a lot of travel.
Oh, yeah, they had a lot of traveling. So
no doubt. Jake, what is your team? Which college team did you decide to take?
So I went through a very extensive process of randomly selecting a team. And the reason I chose this team is because I know someone who lives about 10 minutes away from the stadium. And I told him I made the selection, and he asked me, why would you choose that team? I even know they're terrible. And I chose the Arizona State University, the Sun Devils.
Who are moving to the Big 12. And all three of our teams are in the same conference. Well, actually, this is moving to the SEC. So technically, his would be gone, and yours would come in.
So, but this year, I'm in the Big 12. Yeah. I'm not?
Yep, you're in the Big 12. You play us.
And the team that I took, and I'll kind of explain to everybody how it happened, was on my other show that I sometimes co-host, the Rod Peterson Show. I let the audience pick a team for me because I just didn't know. I think the audience knew I was a wrestling fan, so they picked the Oklahoma Sooners because of Jim Ross, of course. So I am going to be paying attention to the Sooners. How are the Sooners going to do? Let's break down 3 teams. You already kind of broke down yours, saying they suck.
They're not going to be good. So, again, I think Oklahoma will be really good this year. We can go through their schedule. I actually took some notes on this because I was, privy to the information. So I did both of your teams, breakdowns of what I think they're going to win, loss. And I also, put the betting twist on it. I looked after of what I picked to see what, Vegas thinks they're going to do. I was pretty much spot on both.
Oh, nice.
Very close.
Nice.
So for Oklahoma, they open against Arkansas State, which is a cupcake. That's a win. That's 1-0.
Okay.
They play SMU. Another cupcake. It's a win.
I like it.
They play Tulsa.
2-0.
Another cupcake. It's 3-0.
3-0.
Then they open up Big 12 play. They play Cincinnati. Also think that's a win.
4-0.
Iowa State. I think that's another win. So that's 5. 5-0. Going into the biggest game for them, which is the Red River rivalry against Texas. I think this is going to be a close game. And I do think they lose this game to Texas. I think it's close. I think they lose. They're 5-1, but
I'm still taking
it. Texas is really good. As people say, Texas is back. I do think they're going to be good this year. So I do think they'll lose that game. Then they play University of Central Florida. Another win. Kansas. Another win.
I picked a good team, Jake.
You did, yeah?
You did? No, I think they'll be better in year 2 under their new head coach. They play Oklahoma State, another rivalry game, which is called Bedlam. I think they lose that one. I think it's a close game. I just think Oklahoma State somehow pulls it out. So, again, rivalry games, you never know what could happen. Doesn't matter if one team's great and the other team is terrible. Always
any given Sunday.
Exactly. It's always going to be close to
any given Saturday.
Yeah. I just feel like Oklahoma State will win. I think it'll be a close game. I think they win. Then they play my school. Probably 20 to 30 point win. Oklahoma wins. I'm telling you, they're not going to be good. My team opens up at the number, I think Penn State. I think they're 7 or 8, and the spread's 20.5, and I still don't think they cover it. I think they lose by 35 easily. They're not going to score. They're not good.
Did you guys hear about the university, the Canadian university? They already started their league this last weekend, and there was I forget what team it was. Jake probably knows, but it was 83-0 was the score.
80.
I'm like, there's going to be a mercy rule in there somewhere.
Not in college ball. In amateur ball, we have a mercy rule, but we just speed up the clock.
In college, especially now, you got to impress no matter who you play. You got to run up the score to impress the college football committee. So we have two more games left on Oklahoma's schedule.
Go ahead.
They play BYU, which I think is a win. And TCU is going to be a big game. And I think they win. I think they're going to finish 10-2 for the regular season.
Wow.
Vegas has their over-under of 9.5.
So you're taking the over on the 9.5?
I think they're right around 9-10 wins.
Now, do you think that the 10-2 is going to be a good enough record to get into the playoffs?
No, because the Oklahoma State loss, I think, is going to hurt them. Being a 2-loss team.
Hold on. Hold the phone. They have a record of 10 wins and 2 losses, and you're telling me they're not going to make the playoffs?
No.
What the fudge is going on down in the States?
It's tough, man. And 2 losses, and I'm not being in the SEC or Big Ten hurts them. The Big 12 isn't as strong as a conference. Losing 2 games in a conference is going to be tough. Even if they go to the Big 12 championship and win, which would be 11-2, and say they, revenge their loss, say, against Texas, because I think Texas probably is going to be there. Even if they revenge their loss, which probably would knock Texas out of the college football playoff. Because if they're that good, I think Texas would probably win 11 games or so. Would knock them out, which would, again, be good revenge. But, yeah, 10-2 it's a good season, but for not being in the 2 priority conferences, probably not going to make
How many teams get into the playoffs?
4.
And from all the different conferences, only 4 teams.
So technically, you can make it from another conference, but, it's borderline impossible.
Because the other conferences are...
The teams are playing week in and week out, or at least decent. Or, you're playing a top 10 team or top 25 team. So, you're going to play somebody good. And if you win, you win. You can get away with 1 loss, especially if it's to another good team. If there's a thing as a good loss, 1 maybe. 2 is tough. 2 is tough.
Really? So you pretty much have to run the board or damn close
to
it.
You're running the table, or your 1 loss is to probably another team that's making the college football playoff, or is on the cusp, or is right there.
So the teams that are making the playoffs are they're undefeated. That's what I was looking for.
Or they have
they're undefeated. Really? Even in the...
Wow. Yeah. You can see, like last year, I was watching. I don't think TCU deserved to be in the college football playoff last year. Out of the Big 12, they lost in the conference championship. They were 11-1. Okay? But looking at them, I don't think they were better than Alabama, who had 2 losses. Playing in the SEC. Their quarterback was hurt, who went first overall to the Panthers, Bryce Young.
And that's where you can use power rankings, Jake, is because not all the teams play each other.
Exactly.
So power rankings should come into play at some point.
It's they're the college football committee, and they're all supposed to watch the games, so they have the eye test. This team, I think, looks better than this team.
And then they rank them, so that's how they get their rankings every year.
So you have
every week.
Come in, I think, halfway into the season, I think, is when they actually do the college football playoff. Like now, it's just the Associated Press and like the coaches' post or the coaches' vote, which they do take into consideration. But at the end of the day, I think this team's better. I think this team's better. Why do you think this? Why do you think that? And that's how they come.
And now is it a vote or is it just like okay?
Yeah, so they do vote. Like they sit down, they vote, and they go, okay, this is it. And then at the end of the year, after the conference, I think that's Sunday, they actually vote on who who's going to be in the playoff or not, and they have like the reveal show. I think right before the NFL games kick off at 1, which is good marketing. It's good planning for them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
okay, so that's mine. What about Jake?
Well, he's gone. Do you want me to wait for him?
Oh no, he's there.
Okay, he's back. I said
there it is.
So he's gone.
I'm trying to get him to fix his mic somehow.
I make no guarantees. We're working on technical difficulties.
All the technical difficulties for this guy today, huh?
No
Must
doubt,
be me. So for his team, Arizona State,
Well, first off, the party comes first when it comes to Arizona State. This is what I've learned. And if I was choosing a school to go to personally, Arizona State would probably be pretty high up there because it sounds like it's a party school.
All I'm saying is my school had riots after we won some games.
Fair,
saw them
fair.
first. Yep.
Well, so I mean, Baylor. Canucks fans would fit in there.
So, I mean, 70-63 is a pretty exciting game.
That's yeah.
That was our first game of the Big 12. Yep, 70-63.
See, that's why I think I would enjoy college football because it's so high scoring.
So there's a lot. I mean, it's changed because, again, I think we were part of that air raid offense. We were throwing the ball around. Geno Smith was our quarterback when I was in school, NFL quarterback.
Oh, okay.
We had Tavon Austin. I think he was a first-round pick. It didn't turn out well, but he was great in college. So there are some weapons. And if you have weapons in a quarterback, you're going to put up points in college, which is that's why I love it. 70 points is great. You gave up 63, but
see, that's why people, and I've heard people refer the CFL is more like college football than the NFL, just because they air it out a whole lot more in college. I mean, NFL is starting to air the ball out a whole lot more in comparison to what it was 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think just because you have more talent now. I think you have more talent at the quarterback position, especially with you can't hit him anymore with the penalties. You really can't hit him. He throws it. You can't hit him. You can't touch his head. You can't hit him below the waist. So, you have time to throw. I think there's better athletes. There's a lot of good receivers now, and you don't really need a great of a run game to win.
True story. It is right. And I mean, being a receiver myself, I think tossing the ball. If the American game could get rid of the 9 minutes you have in between each play and go to the 20-second clock like the CFL does, I think it would be a way better game. But that's just me.
Speeds up the game.
Way faster, that's for sure.
Look at baseball. They sped up the game.
Yep.
It has, right?
I've gone to some games this year, and I saw two different teams put up 10 runs, and the game was over in 2.5 hours.
Well, when you can finish a baseball game under 3 hours, it's showing that it's the pitch clock is working. So now they got to work on the play clock because I mean, how often do you see over a 3-hour football game? It's like, holy crap.
But in a sense, at least with football, it's consistent. Hey, but I mean, yeah, between the huddles, like it's play, then huddle, play, play. It's still, I think, flows better. I mean, I love baseball, but I think it does flow better than baseball does, like the game wise. Again,
for sure.
Plus
anything
the networks
flows better than them.
Plus the networks make way too much money with all the commercials for the NFL.
A lot of ad money. A lot of ad money.
Huge.
So. All right. Well, I will get into your team.
Yes.
So they play South Utah University week 1. That should be a win because I don't even know who they are. Don't know who they are. Maybe FCS. I'm not sure. And then all three of us have a common opponent this year, Oklahoma State. Do not think they win that game, so I think that's 1-1. Then you play Fresno State. That's a win, so that's 2-1. So there you go.
That's a winning record. I'll take it. Just end the season there.
Then you play USC. I wouldn't watch that if I was you, unless you want to watch the first overall pick in the draft next year of Caleb Williams, the quarterback at USC. He's phenomenal. He's really good. So if you want to watch exciting and points, watch USC. They don't play defense and they score a lot of points. Doesn't matter who their opponent is. They will put up 50 points, but they might give up 28-30, which they did this past week to a team that's nowhere near their competition. It's just they don't play defense. But that quarterback is ungodly. I'll say I think he's going to be the next almost Patrick Mahomes. Except he can run better. So he's going to be good. Then they play Cal, which I think is a win. So you're 1, 2, 3-2 is not bad. Then you play Coach Prime in Colorado. I think that's a loss. You play Washington, who's going to be, I think, pretty good this year. That's another loss. Play Washington State. It's probably another loss. You play Utah. They're pretty good. That's another loss. You play UCLA. That's Chip Kelly. He likes to put up points. That's another loss. You play Oregon. They're good.
That's a lot of losses,
That's
Jake.
another loss.
Yeah, I'm learning I have the opposite win rate of your team.
Close.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose to the Ducks, and then I think you beat Arizona because they're not good either. So you're gonna go 4-8, which you would not be bowl eligible because that you have to go 500 for that, with 6-6.
You have to be 500 to get into any bowl.
So you have to go 6-6, but during the COVID year, I think a couple teams that were 5 wins got in because of COVID. But usually you have to at least go 6-6 to make a bowl game.
Now, your team, Mr. Kyle.
I didn't even do it. I can tell you that. They're going to go 3-9, maybe.
It was too painful.
2-8. They're going to lose. They're going to lose week 1. I think week 2 they play Duquesne. That's a win. They play Virginia Tech out of conference. Maybe they win that game. And then they play Pitt out of conference. I think maybe that's a win. Or maybe they'll beat UCF or somebody, but that's it. 3 wins, maybe 4. They're going to lose the rest of the games. They're not going to be competitive.
Gotcha. So the only chance of making a playoff is this guy over here.
You have a shot. Do I think you will? No, but I do think there's a chance.
Well, I'm going to find a bet somewhere I can bet. I'm going to make a $5 bet online that we make the playoffs.
I think if you bet
that's got to be a bet.
To win the Big 12 is going to be good money because Texas is definitely number 1 to win the Big 12.
Oh, there you go. Now I'm going to see how big this, what kind of money I can make with a $5 bet. I'll go to VIP bets and see if I can't put $5 on it. What do you think, Jake?
I think it's a good bet. I can't wait to hear you complain that you get screwed on like the last game of the season or something, because that's your luck.
I mean, all I'm saying is if they beat Texas, what was that? 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 6 or so, week 6 or 7. If there's a bye week thrown in there, I just did the teams. If they beat Texas and they're like 7-0,
then we're talking.
That Texas game's the big one because I think they're going to win. The other games shouldn't be that close. Cincinnati's not good, and Iowa State's not that great this year. So that Texas game's going to be the big one. You win that rivalry game, that's a big win.
Okay, here we go. Week 7, Jake. Pay
6
attention.
Or 7. You might have a bye week.
Now, I got a question for you, and I'm going to tie it into the CFL because we're a CFL-heavy show right now. We have Mr. Nathan Rourke, who was just put on waivers from Jaguars. Just put him on waivers just before we went on the air, which was kind of disappointing, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. I had inside information from another place that it was going to happen. So now the question is, does he get picked? You watch a lot of NFL, obviously. Does he get picked up by another team, or does he end up on a practice roster?
He could end up on a practice squad, which again is not the worst case scenario. You never know. Quarterback gets hurt, called up. West Virginia quarterback, Will Greer, who's in Dallas, just got cut because Trey Lance got traded there. Even though he balled out the last preseason game, I think he threw for almost like 350.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he gets picked up by practice squad. So again, it's never the end. And playing on a practice squad, you're still getting, some money. It's not like you're playing for nothing.
Yeah. I think he has a guaranteed contract of $750 or something.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not hard to take.
More money than
hard to take.
I'll say more money than he's probably making playing in the CFL.
Yeah, he'd probably make it $600 if he was playing in the CFL, $500,000-$600,000.
So that's not bad at all. That he's
it's whether he wants to play or not.
Correct, but I mean, I would take that. You're not getting hit. You can't get hit in practice. You don't hit the quarterbacks in practice.
I'd take half of that.
Yeah, it's guaranteed money.
Hold the clipboard. Hello.
Exactly. No, I think we'll find. I think there'll be some rumors starting tonight. I know you put in there. Will something be leaked? I don't think it'll be fully leaked. I think there'll be some innuendo on organizations talking about potentially putting in a claim on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I saw there's a couple quarterbacks that got cut. A couple quarterbacks got injured. I think somebody's backup tore his ACL or something, so he's done. So,
and that's the big thing. All it takes is one injury, not even to the starter, to a backup in practice, and all of a sudden you're on the 53-man roster, right? So.
Yep.
Now his brother, Curtis Rourke, Ohio Bobcats.
They're Division I, but
yeah,
doesn't matter. I think they're in the MAC. They're definitely in the MAC. That doesn't matter.
He's been rated as the top CFL candidate for our draft pick, but most teams are saying we're not going to take him because they figure he's going to go NFL.
He could have a shot, I mean, there's quarterbacks, that don't go to major universities that make it. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is an example. He went to Miami University of Ohio. Gets drafted first round. You have Joe Flacco.
Sorry, did you say the Miami University of Ohio?
Yes, there is. There's
all right.
Yeah, no, that's a Division I university. Yeah.
I was just nodding my head, going, "What?"
Well, not the Hurricanes, not the U back in the '90s. Early 2000s, not them.
There it is.
You have Joe Flacco of Delaware. Went to the University of Delaware. Jimmy Garoppolo also, I think, went to Delaware or something weird like that. Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois. You have quarterbacks that can make it out of non Power 5 conferences.
Well, you look at any of the big quarterbacks. I mean, they had to have gotten that opportunity because to be able to, they were a backup at one time.
Look at Patrick Mahomes. I saw him play in college, and he wasn't that great. He wasn't that great. He's a 500. They were 500. He was 500 in college. He could honestly, he could go down as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Exactly.
And look at Tom Brady, who is well known as being the GOAT. The only reason he got into the game was because what's his name got hurt. Bledsoe got hurt, and Brady never took it back or never gave it back. He said, "This is my team now."
Brady in college didn't start. He got beat up by a baseball player, Drew Henson. Okay, who went to the Yankees and played third base, and then tried to come back and play NFL because he wasn't good enough to make the majors. He wasn't good enough in the majors.
I was going to say, and drafted what? Brady was drafted in the 6th round, 7th round,
199. I think that's the end of the 6th.
Yeah.
And you never know. Hey, and you're right in the right situation. I think you found the right coach. That team was set up with good defense. The offense was okay. He just had the game managed until he became, first as being the quarterback. It wasn't his team when he, first couple of years, that wasn't his team. He was a good game manager, and that's back in the NFL where a run game, playing good defense, won you championships.
Unfortunately, though, in the NFL, so much politics plays so much into who's going to play, not only be number QB1, but more so who's going to be QB2. Because if it was just pure talent, Rourke is QB2 in
who is their backup? I don't know who their backup is.
Guy they just drafted last year or the year before, I believe.
I'm trying to think who their backup. Lawrence is their starter, but I'm trying to think who their backup is.
Oh,
I can't.
I just looked it up before and I can't think of it.
I can't think.
Apparently, he's friends with some coaches, or his parents are friends with some coaches, and it's like, yeah. I'm always going to bring it back to the CFL because that's my thing. You get it, and we're talking about quarterbacks that made it. You look at Flutie. I mean, Flutie wasn't given an opportunity in the NFL. Came up here and freaking lit it up for years. Went back to Buffalo.
Yeah,
was so good they gave him the Flutie Flakes.
Yeah,
and then benched him going into the playoffs.
Yeah. I'll tie it back to college football. He probably had one of the most improbable upset wins ever in college football on a Hail Mary throw against the University of Miami when he went to Boston College.
Boston College, the Hail Mary.
Yeah, so everything ties into each other. I loved Flutie when I was a kid. Ran around, just bombed it up. Everyone, he wasn't that quarterback.
He played for my BC Lions, and I think that was his first. Well, maybe Calgary was his first team in the CFL, then BC. But anyways, he's won Grey Cups up here. He burned it up. So it's CJ Beathard that is.
CJ Beathard. Okay, I know who he is. He went to Iowa. Okay, he's okay. He's an okay backup. He's not bad. He played for. He's on San Francisco. Yeah,
they say he's a vat, so
he's not bad. He's not a bad backup.
We'll see.
Here, I mean,
I still think he's going to make a 53-man roster. That's my bet. Being Rourke, the kid's got talent. We seen him play up here in BC last year, and I've watched football for a lot of years. I haven't seen a kid quite with that much talent. And then just in the preseason, I know it's preseason in the NFL; it doesn't really count. But that kid freaking lit it up.
And that's why you can watch college football. you can see, oh, this kid looks good. This kid, I think he would.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to it.
It's a perfect, streamline into the NFL. If when you guys get into NFL, you can see, okay, this guy's good. This is, my team needs. This guy looks good at this position. I don't want them to take this guy. This guy might, not fit them. So
and not only that, there's a lot of U.S. college players coming up playing CFL as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just think about it. There's only 250-something picks in the NFL. And, I'll be honest with you, after the third round, after that, you're fighting for a position. Even in the third round, kind of, 4th to 7th to undrafted, all those guys are fighting to try to make a 53-man roster in a practice squad. So take all that player pool, where are they going to play? The XFL? Is it...
For how many seasons is it going to last? Because it lost so much money last year.
Well, I think that's gonna. I think the Saudis are buying a lot of stuff. I can see them buying the XFL.
Oh,
that wouldn't surprise me.
I could see them buying the XFL.
Yeah,
because you're on off season, you're not competing against the NFL.
Yeah,
and they can start dumping money into the XFL. Maybe
if you got somebody,
maybe you're stealing these college kids away. Some of these better college kids away because you're going to pay them more to make their game better. And then now you have to get bought out by the NFL. Because then you're competing against that.
They said Live Golf would never work.
Look what happened.
And now they're merging with the PGA.
They're never going to negotiate. What happened? All the players kept leaving because they get more money. And now all of the players that stayed, like Rory McIlroy, he kind of got screwed. Well, he didn't take the money. He stayed, loyal to the PGA. And the PGA goes, okay, and then you made a deal with him behind all their backs. So I think it's a possibility of them buying it. I think it'd be smart. Like, look at they're trying to buy they're getting all the soccer players that go, to the Saudi leagues. They're trying to buy. I think one of them is trying to buy Chelsea. Even Manchester United is up for they want to buy. Probably one of those.
Everything's for sale, right, Jake?
Yep.
One of the most prestigious soccer teams in all of the world, Manchester United, and they're trying to buy them. So everybody has a price, and when you're hitting the billions, it's not hard to swallow to take it.
Okay.
So
what do you think, Jake? Any other questions?
Oh, you want me to
I've got nothing.
I was like, you want me to go through the key games in September?
Yeah, let's go through the key games in September.
And I'll give you my predictions. So Thursday, 31st, you got University of Florida versus Utah. This was a big game last year because the quarterback was Anthony Richards, who's the quarterback of the Colts now, and upset Utah last year at home. Pretty much ended Utah's chance of getting into the college football playoff because they actually went on a roll, beat USC in the Pac-12. Was a big loss for them. Utah's still good. I think they're going to win that game 42-31.
Ooh.
They're at home. I think they'll win. They're better. Florida lost their quarterback. Traveling to out to the West Coast in the sense of Utah, I think they lose. Probably the best game of September, I think, in my opinion, is LSU versus Florida State on Sunday. It's a Sunday night game, 7:30. LSU lost to Florida State last year by 1 point because they missed an extra point after they scored a touchdown as time expired. They missed the extra point. And the extra point is not the NFL. It's at the 2-yard line.
How do you miss that then?
He missed it. Choked? Don't know. He choked.
Hold on. The extra point is kicked from the 2-yard line?
It used to be NFL as well, and then they moved it back.
Yeah. It's a CFL used to have it that way too.
Very hard to miss it. But yeah, so they lost by 1 point. I think they get their revenge this year. I think it's a 35-34 LSU win. Okay? I think they win by 1 because Florida State misses an extra point. I think it comes full circle.
That would be vengeance.
I'm not saying at the end of the game. I'm saying they miss or it gets blocked or something happens or they go for 2 randomly at the beginning of the game and it comes back to bite them if they lose by 1.
Oh.
Then we have one of your favorite teams, Texas, the following weekend against Alabama. In Alabama. I think, even though Alabama lost a lot of talent, they still replaced a lot of talent. And it's tough to pick against Nick Saban. I think they're going to win that game 31-27. But, again, I think the game can go either way. And that has both those last 2 games I went over have major college football implications. Because if Texas loses to Alabama, they're done. And I think the loser of LSU, FSU, Florida State, I think is pretty much done. And you're done week 1. You're,
that's brutal.
Pretty much eliminated week 1. I do think there's a shot for them to come back, especially LSU, because they still have to play Alabama. I think they play Georgia this year, but they still have, good talent to play to come back. I think they could come back from a loss than Florida State, but it's tough. Then next week, not too many good games. So we're going to go to the end of the month of September. You have Ole Miss at Alabama, which is always a good game because you have the Ole Miss coach who used to be under Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin. I'm sure you know that name. He used to coach in the NFL, coach from college. Those games are usually high scoring, and they keep it close enough. But I do think Alabama wins 56-38. I have Florida State against Clemson on the 23rd as well, which in fact I think Florida State wins on the road at Clemson, 45-35. I think, again, if somehow they pull a game off against LSU, beating 2 top 10 teams the first month of the year, they're on a pretty good roll to go undefeated and make it to the college football playoff. You win, you lose, but I think those are their 2 huge games for them, especially to open up the first month of the season. You got Ohio State and Notre Dame. I think Ohio State, again, they don't have the quarterback, but they have a lot of weapons, a lot of good receivers. They have the son of Marvin Harrison Jr., who's going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL. If he stays healthy, he's insanely talented, and I think they're going to win 38-24. I actually don't.
That'll be a good game to watch.
I don't think that game's going to be that close. I think Ohio State's going to pull away. I don't know why. I just don't think Notre Dame's that good. I always think they're kind of overhyped, like the Cowboys in the NFL. I think they're kind of like an overhyped.
They got the name recognition.
Correct. I think they're kind of overhyped. I don't think they're gonna be that great. Then we have a Big Ten team, two Big Ten teams that I think the Big Ten West is usually between Iowa and Wisconsin, and Iowa goes to Penn State. It's always a hard-fought, tough game. I think Penn State wins 21-17. They're at home. But those games are always pretty low scoring. Iowa really doesn't have a good offense. So they usually, they rely on their defense. I think Penn State's, even though I don't like them either, I think they have a shot. I don't like them for a lot of reasons, but I do think they have a shot to run the table. I think they'll beat Iowa. I think they'll have a good game against Ohio State, Michigan later in the year. And then we have Utah again at the end of the month against Oregon State. I think they win that game 38-30. I think Utah's just talented enough to beat Oregon State, who actually has a quarterback from Clemson last year who transferred to Oregon State. He's good, but I don't think he's good enough to beat Utah. I think Utah's just that good. I don't know why. I just think Utah's going to be good this year. Even though they did lose, their tight end who went to the Bills, I think, in the first round. I think they're just strong enough to get through the first month of the year undefeated and make it. So that's it for September. If you want, cool. I can give you guys my predictions real quick of who I think is going to make it to the college football playoff this year, and end on that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have, in no particular order, 1 through 4. I have the University of Georgia, who's won the last 2 national championships. They did lose their quarterback, but cupcake schedule. SEC, I think they can run the table and lose 1 game or go undefeated. I think Alabama is going to go undefeated or lose 1 game. So that's 2 out of the SEC. I have USC because I just think Caleb Williams and that offense is too high-powered. I don't think they lose. And I have Ohio State out of the Big Ten, upsetting Michigan and knocking them out at the end of the year. I think those are my 4. I think there's a couple other teams that have a shot. I think Louisiana State, LSU in the SEC has a shot. I think Clemson has a chance in the ACC to go undefeated. I think Florida State has a shot. Texas and Michigan. And that's it. I just don't think Oklahoma's going to beat. They're not going to beat Texas.
Give me some love.
Texas, I just don't think they're going to beat Texas. I think Oklahoma. Texas is going to beat Alabama. I think Texas has a shot to beat Alabama because, you lost Bryce Young. You lost, Will Anderson on their defense, even though they're replacing them with, high talented people. That could be, if Texas takes down Alabama, that game against Oklahoma, they win, they're running the table. And they're going to go to
I'm going to find me an Oklahoma Sooner flag to put right there.
I will boo
That's going to be my next purchase.
I will boo you. I will boo you.
Awesome. So how often are we going to do this, Jake, with Kyle?
I want to say at least once a month.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. I like
do a
it.
check-in at the end of September, beginning of October, see where things are, because things can change so fast in college football, especially
Always does.
if a player goes down or a star emerges out of nowhere, and maybe your Sooners are completely defeated.
Could be.
They're
I don't think they will be, but they could be. You never know.
Crazier things have happened.
There has been some crazy things, so yeah.
Let's make it into early October because I'll be away at the end of September.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, that was
cool.
That was a lot of college football knowledge that I was not prepared for. My brain is full.
My head hurts.
My brain is too full.
Yes.
And if you want to get your brain full of knowledge and information that you probably don't need, you can go head on over to hughesports.ca, where we post our articles, our power rankings, our reviews of games some weeks, everything like that. We have had a very busy
power ranking some weeks.
Yeah, it's been a very busy month for us here at Hughes Sports. And
we had weddings, we had Rod Peterson show live broadcasting just down the road. It was a busy week.
Busy week. And now I'm having technical issues and difficulties. So
let's speed run. There. Your computer shut down or what?
Yeah, as the intro started rolling, I went to pull up stats for the CFL week. And all of a sudden, my computer froze and shut down. And I was like, I have enough time. I'll be able to get it up. I didn't have enough time.
So we had a member of the CFL Chatter Facebook group come on and beak off, of course. Jeff Yermenko, big Blue Bombers fan. And he says, turns out the Tiger is actually king of the jungle, eh, Kevin? Been trying to find a BC fan to say that all day. LOL. So, do you want to go over real quick over the games last week?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Get through these quick because we went way longer than we honestly expected to with Kyle, but it was a great conversation. So
good.
Yeah, lots of insights. So let's go through. Friday nights we jumped into Winnipeg, Montreal. Looks like they had the game close or in hand going into the second half, and whatever adjustments the Blue Bombers made, they came out and said, no, we are first in the West. Do not come at us. And they did. I hate to admit it, and I saw you chirping away on Facebook like you always do.
Well, and I didn't. It wasn't like I thought Montreal was going to win because they hadn't scored an offensive touchdown. All I said was, "Oh yeah, Caleras, best quarterback in the league, just threw 2 pick sixes." And as I was posting that, he threw his 3rd interception of the game of the first half. I didn't say Winnipeg was going to lose.
No, but you're still chirping.
Surf Mafia, they lit on fire. There must have been 150 comments on that post. It was insanity.
And then in the second half, Winnipeg came out and Caleros. I didn't watch the game, to be honest. I didn't watch any game this week. But
Jake.
Just the second half. And I don't know what happens. Obviously, halftime adjustments are made. And is it that Blue Bombers and Michael Scher are that good at the halftime adjustments?
No,
or did they just wake up?
I think they went into the dressing room and said, boys, let's go out there and play like we're men. Because we just played like we're boys. And that's what they did. They went back out there and kicked some freaking Alouette butt. I was going to swear. Hey, Bombers look good. I got to hand it to them. I actually made the post that Bombers is probably are going to be the team in the West to go through. That's for sure.
100%. Then we had the Friday night game. Calgary fought it out and just, from my understanding, just aired it out versus Toronto. And like how I was talking about, there's some college teams that don't believe in defense. Apparently, neither do these two teams.
It was like a title fight, man. They both stood in freaking toe-to-toe and threw haymakers the whole game. Bingleton for Calgary was on fire, some of the catches. But in the end, Chad Kelly proved that Chad Kelly is the best quarterback in the league. And I saw rankings put out this week that showed that, he is the best quarterback, according to all that nerd stuff that you pay attention to.
Yep.
He literally is the best quarterback in the
I mean,
league, and Toronto came out of that one 39-31.
Yep. Calgary put up a very good offense against Toronto, but when you have when you're putting up points and you're not stopping anyone, that you're going to lose to a better quarterback every single time.
Exactly.
And now let's
talk about this next game.
No, we got to touch on it because I've seen a lot of posts. Can you blame this game solely on the shoulders of Vernon Adams Jr.? And now, just to preface this, we were at a wedding on Saturday.
Oh, right, yeah.
We were not watching the game. Some of us were not watching the game because, we had jobs to do at the wedding and others didn't.
I didn't listen to the game. We just had it on a phone. Top to bottom, front to back, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, fans, the beer guy, the ticket takers, the vendors on the street party.
The underground plumbing.
Nobody showed up to play this game. It was horrible. It was an embarrassment, to be honest. It was one of those, what the balls like being overthrown, underthrown, catches that should be made just weren't made. It was insane. It was, not cool.
Yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I mean, third string Hamilton really stepped in and took charge in that game. But and now it's the conversation, and because I posted to this week's power rankings early today to generate a little bit of conversation. There's been a lot of conversation around did the Lions peak too early? Did they peak at the first 3 weeks of the season? Because we've seen a constant decline. Let's put it in this way: the Edmonton Elks have more wins in August than the BC Lions.
Shut up.
It's true.
It's the dog days of summer. It's a long season. The season starts now. Really does. Labor Day. The season starts now. Powell did look good. Jeff Vieira-Manco's commenting in the thing. I mean, I confused who he was. He actually followed us here from the Rod Peterson show. My apologies, Jeff.
Hello.
Powell for Hamilton did look really good.
Yeah.
I honestly think the season starts down. I think you're going to see a different Lions team come out against Montreal on Saturday. So they better. If they lose on Saturday, we might not make the playoffs again. Well, I'm making that prediction.
The problem is that now if we win against Hamilton, if the Lions win against Hamilton, we're in a two-man race for first in the West.
Well, yeah, now we're not.
Now we're closer to Saskatchewan in third place and not being able to host a game than we are first.
Exactly.
It's scary. It's going to be an interesting to see what happens. Starting this next week with Labor Day. With Labor Day, are we going to go live on Tuesday instead of Monday? Because the game's not going to be over till late. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be at the game on Monday, and the game starts at 4:30, I think it is. It's a late start, which is really weird. I don't like it. CFL, I don't like the late start. But anyway, used to always be a 1:30 start. You had 11 o'clock game back east and a 1 o'clock game here, 1:30, whatever it was.
Now I believe that could be to not try to compete with college football. You're going to lose some of your
Labor Day, it's Monday. College football doesn't play on Monday. We have it by ourselves. We have an evening game for Monday Night Football, so we're going to be pushing into that, talking about competing.
Yeah, there's no NFL on. What are you talking about?
Doesn't NFL? No, NFL doesn't start till the following week. Yeah.
No, that's why they're doing it. Just so everyone knows, next week's show will be on Tuesday. Plus, at that point, we might have a very special announcement for the week following. Moving on, we finally... Oh, we both can't click the button. We get the Red Blacks going into Edmonton, where we have documented since 2019 the Elks have not won. Click the button, old man. And the Elks finally get a win.
Woo!
By a 10-point difference of 20-30.
Who picked the Elks? This guy picked the Elks to win. Did you pick the Elks as well?
Yes, sir.
Me, you, Ellison. Boom, boom.
You know what's funny is I missed 2 weeks of picking, right? I'm only 4 points behind you now.
I know.
For those who don't know, we're talking about the CFL Pick'em Pool. It's free to play. CFL Old Dutch gives out prizes every week, I believe, and a grand prize at the end of the season if you are the best at the CFL Pick'em.
You got a Grey Cup ticket.
Thank you. I was like, I know there's a prize. I don't know what it is.
It's an all-expense paid trip to the Grey Cup.
No, I did not.
Did you watch this game?
No, I was out real late the night before, and then had to wake up real early for a wrestling event on Saturday, and then came home and took a nap and napped right through this game.
The crowd was so small, but the crowd was so loud. There was people accusing the Elks of pumping in crowd noise, which they didn't. It was just a really loud crowd.
Well, no, and to be fair to Edmonton, Commonwealth is a very large stadium, so a good-sized crowd could look very small there.
Exactly. They had 19,000, whatever it was.
Yeah. I think 20. I think it was 20, close to their season average.
I was convinced right up until 2 minutes left in the game, minute and a half left in the game, that they were going to blow it.
How could you not? With
Ottawa
Edmonton
every chance to win. They give Ottawa every chance to win, and Ottawa didn't take advantage. And Edmonton gets away from the 22-0. Now they're 22-1. Oh, 1-22. Sorry, they were 0-22 at home. 1,594 days.
Dating back to October 2019.
October 12th, 2019. Trivia question: who did they play that game?
Did they beat us?
Yes, they beat the BC Lions. October 12th, 2019. That was the last team they beat at home. Until now, they finally broke the streak. There was a party happening in Edmonton. Gatorade was tossed on the coach. It was like they won the freaking Grey Cup. And good for them. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad the streak's over and we can move on. Now, let's pay attention. Edmonton's won 2 games in a row.
Yep.
They're only 1 game behind Calgary and 3 games behind Edmonton. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan plays Hamilton Saskatchewan plays Winnipeg back to back. Very much could lose those 2 games.
And Edmonton plays Calgary back to back very well easily. The way Calgary's been playing, 2 wins.
So all of a sudden, they're only 1 game out of a playoff spot. Interesting.
There's got to be a fan somewhere. There's got to be a fan somewhere who put as a joke, while they were very drunk in Edmonton because there's not much else you can do in Edmonton, put $100 down on them making the playoffs.
Can you imagine? That had to be 5,000 to 1 odds.
Yeah, exactly. There's literally the bettors would have been like, oh, okay, these $100 we ever made, and now they're like, oh, there's actually a route where they can have this happen. But Edmonton needs to win these next 2 games.
It's huge. These next 2 games for Edmonton are huge for Edmonton, but they're also huge for Calgary.
Correct.
For the opposite reason. If Calgary loses these 2 games, now even if Calgary splits them, if Edmonton wins 1, Calgary wins 1, doesn't look good for Calgary at this point.
No, exactly.
100%. Needs to win. Calgary needs to win both of them. Edmonton needs to win both of them, which puts... I love the CFL for this reason. Even though BC doesn't have that rivalry, we usually play Montreal. I don't know why. It's not like Montreal's our rival, but they don't have a rival. Toronto has Hamilton.
The Banjo Bowl and the Labor Day Classic.
The Riders. Ooh, you're really bad again, your sound. The Riders have Winnipeg back-to-back. They go to the Banjo Bowl. We have the Labor Day Classic here, and then the rematch up in Edmonton. It used to be we played the Monday, and then the rematch was the Friday. It was a short week.
Always. It always used to be that way.
Switched that. Yeah, now they switched it to the Sunday or the Saturday.
Saturday,
they switched it one. I think it's Saturday because you and I might be going up there to cover that game for the podcast.
Yes, that was the announcement I was teasing for next week.
Shit.
But good job. Way to go.
Oh. Oops. Don't pay attention to me. You didn't tell me that. You got to tell me these things.
I assume you
this
knew.
This is what happens when we don't communicate. Your communication skills are lacking, young man.
So we already released the power rankings for this week, and because I'm on my mobile device, I'm just going to read out the power rankings from bottom to top. So in number 9...
Which, again, you didn't tell me you were going to release them before you released them. You released them. I was like, you released the power rankings.
I don't have to tell you anything.
Apparently, you don't tell me shit.
You're...
So I'm going to blow all your big announcements.
All right, you know what? That's fair. You just won't know the big announcements next time.
Go ahead.
I'll treat you like mushrooms.
Read out your damn fake power rankings.
First off, my damn fake power rankings that started apparently a Facebook revolution. Everyone having their own goddamn power rankings. However, number 9, for the first time in the history of the Hughes Sports Podcast, we have a new number 9. We have the Auto Blacks dropping 2 positions down. In number 8, we have the Calgary Stampeders, who also dropped 2 positions down. The Edmonton Elks, continuing their winning ways, move up 2 positions to number 7. And number 6, the Hamilton Tiger Cats moving up 2 spots. In number 5, the team that had the bye week this week, and one of the only teams that didn't move around on the power rankings, the Rough Riders. Number 4, we have your beloved BC Lions moving down. And moving up in their place to number 3 is the Montreal Alouettes. Despite being blown out in their game, the move has nothing to do with the Alouettes. It has 100% more to do with what the BC Lions have shown the last couple of weeks. In number 2, we have the Smurf Mafia in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And in number 1, we have the team to beat this year in the CFL, the Toronto Argonauts.
I didn't interrupt you, but your sound is really crackly again.
There's nothing
I'm just going to go over it. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to go over that again. So Ottawa, starting at the bottom, coming up, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, Hamilton, Saskatchewan, BC, Montreal, Winnipeg, and Toronto, of course, number 1. Go to hughesports.ca if you want to see those.
They're not up on hughesports.ca yet. They were released to Facebook for the show. They will be up tomorrow on hughesports.ca. Picks for next week.
That's perfect. You look like, for anybody that is watching, it's like we're watching a really bad dubbed movie. Your lips are moving, and then your sound comes in a few minutes later. It's quite comical, actually. You got anything else this week?
Just predictions.
Predictions for the week.
I'll need you to pull them up because I'm very limited.
I will pull them up. Give me 2 seconds. So, folks, there we go. Week 13. We have Saturday, the first game of the week. We have the Lions traveling to Montreal to play the Alouettes. Don't make me jump through this fucking screen.
Do you want me to be right, or do you want me to go with my gut? Because I'm really torn here. I'm going to take the BC Lions.
Thank you. So am I. I'm going to say it's a real close game, though. I'm going to say, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, 40-43 kind of idea.
I was going to say,
take the over.
Take the over, and if it's more than a 3.5 point spread either way, take the points.
The first Labor Day Classic happens on Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. Winnipeg Blue Bombers travel in to Ryderville.
This one's easy for me. Winnipeg. Saskatchewan hasn't proven anything yet.
I'm going to take Winnipeg, but I'm going to call this one of the upsets of the week.
You can't have you can't have two upsets of the week.
Okay, then I'm going to call this the upset of the week.
There we go.
That one's not really an upset. So I'm going to call this one the upset of the week. But I'm going to pick Blue Bombers on my pick'em, but I'm putting $5 on the Riders to win.
To win or with the spread?
Just to win.
All right.
Then on Monday, the first of the two Labor Day Classics on Monday is the Argonauts going into Hamilton.
Despite the rise on the power rankings, the Toronto Argonauts are just a better team in every shape, way, and form. Give me 35 points.
The biggest snore fest we've seen on a Labor Day game in years and years and years. I don't know why they didn't put the Blue Bombers game on the Monday. It makes no sense to me. But whatever.
Because no. Because Hamilton was supposed to be good this year. If you look at their team on paper, they should be good this year.
That's true. Again, Argonauts, they're gonna go 9-1, no doubt about it. And then the true, what I think is the true Labor Day Classic. All the rest of them can call them what they want. This is the true Labor Day Classic that started it all.
Well, to be fair, it is the only one called the Labor Day Classic. All the rest of them are just games. You've called them all Labor Day Classics.
Bombers Winnipeg called this one. They actually, because I took a
because the next week's the Banjo Bowl. This week's just their Labor Day game.
Can you?
We cannot see. No, we cannot see your phone.
Yes, you can see that. Labor Day, first annual Labor Day Classic.
Okay,
and that's it is. I know. I did it on purpose. Just to make you do that.
It is not first annual
tournament. They're having a golf tournament.
So that's the first annual. The Labor Day Classic is the no. You don't trust me. The Labor Day Classic is the golf tournament, not the fucking football game.
I know, but it's but they're putting it in with their. You can see they have the.
And I'm sure they have all the rights to use that.
Helmets.
I hope they have the rights to use that because we know the CFL.
See if it's the CFL Alumni Association. I think they do.
Okay, still, the Labor. First off,
not the first annual. It is
the inaugural.
Yes, shut up. Anyway, so
if you're going to use English, use it properly.
My God. Anyways, the true Labor Day Classic is the Edmonton Elks traveling down Highway 2 to visit the Stampeders. Who you taking, big guy?
I am going, and I don't think it's an upset. That's why I don't think you can call it the upset of the week. I think I am taking the Edmonton Elks. I think they have the momentum they have the momentum on their side. Trey Ford has shown that he is a quarterback that could be or should be a starter in the CFL. And Jake Meyer over the season has shown that he's not a starter in the CFL.
Trey Ford has not only showed he should have started this season. Now, we have to trust Chris Jones saying he wasn't ready. So maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wouldn't have been this good if they would have started him right in the very beginning. I'm going to trust Jones. Jones is a Rod guy. Rod is a Jones guy. And this is what he tells me. So I'm going to believe him. Having said that, Trey Ford is freaking phenomenal. You didn't watch the game. That boy can run. Oh, he's got some legs on him, Jake. That man was like leaving people in his dust. And an arm. He can fire the ball a mile. He is freaking perfect for the CFL.
It's almost like the Elk fans have been begging for this for 10 weeks. For Trey Ford to get a start, and Chris Jones, in his ultimate wisdom, because he is a guru of winning seasons after taking over from winning coaches, of quarterbacks. If you can't tell, that's dripping with sarcasm.
Oh, really? No.
I'm just making sure people take things out of context.
Even with your mic problems, your audio problems, I understood that was sarcasm.
I just want to make sure.
Anyway, I think the Elks go stretch their winning streak to 3, and I don't think they just win. I think they destroy them. I really do.
I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think
it's going to be a 10+.
I don't think it's going to be a 10+. I think if you're given 6.5 points on either side, I'm taking the 6.5 points. I don't think it's going to be more than a touchdown to differentiate the two.
Oh, Calgary doesn't have the team this year. Sorry, Jeff's a Stamps fan, but they don't. And it's not all on the quarterback.
Nope.
But a lot of it is. Their receivers suck. They've been dropping balls. Their offensive line has more holes than my underwear. It's really bad. I couldn't think of what word I wanted, so I just went with underwear.
Sieve?
Yeah. That's the word.
A strainer?
Hey, did everybody notice that I'm a badass now?
And on that note, folks, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, despite the audio troubles, despite the everything.
We will have the audio troubles fixed for next week.
I bloody hope so. Let's put it that way. There will be
computers throwing if not.
Precisely. So I appreciate everyone tuning in from wherever you are. Have yourselves a wonderful night. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the likes. You can find the old man at Cavelli Channeling everywhere except for Twitter. You can find him at KevHughes64. There is no underscore in your name, by the way, just to be clear. You can find me on Twitter and everywhere.
Is that why you wanted me to change my Twitter name?
Streams, JEH Streams. You can find me Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Have yourselves a wonderful night. Mwah. Goodbye.